Hey guys, this is Alan from QCTropicals, and in today's episode, I'm gonna let you know a nursery secret that no one has ever told you before. At least I don't think so. So if you want to learn what it is, it's about mulberry trees. You want to watch all the way to the end. Alright guys, so let's say you have a mulberry tree in a container and you're wondering why it's not growing. And it doesn't really matter what size container you put it in, it's just not growing on you. Well, the reason for that, guys, is because mulberry trees have a taproot system that goes straight down in the ground several feet. So what happens in containers is once that taproot hits the bottom of that container, your mulberry tree will completely slow down growing, if not completely stop. So it doesn't really matter what size container you put it in, it's just not worth growing a mulberry tree in a container. Let me show you. Here at our nursery, we do have them in containers, but we do not recommend growing them in containers indefinitely. Can you grow them temporarily for a few years? Yes, you can. So right here we have 5-gallon Pakistan mulberries, and these trees are about 6 to 7 feet tall, and this is as big as it gets in a 5-gallon container. So how old are these trees? They are about a year to a year and a half old, and they are not going to really grow any taller, or the trunk is not going to get any bigger in that size container. Now if we pot it into a bigger container, is it going to grow a little bit? Yes, it will, but not nearly as much as it will in the ground. So what's the nursery secret, guys? So let's say you are a nursery, or you are a backyard grower and you want to, sell some trees, and the trees you have for sale are mulberry trees, and you're having issues getting your trees to grow bigger in the container. Well, there's a trick that you can actually do in order to get them to grow bigger, and that is you let them root themselves into the ground. You see these mulberry trees right here? These are Pakistan mulberries, and they rooted through the container, through the wheat cloth, into the ground. These trees right here are about, I would say, 12 to maybe, about 10 to 12 feet tall. They're huge. And you can also tell the diameter of the trunk right here. It's a lot bigger than the other ones. And the only reason this tree is actually this big in this 5-gallon container, it's not because of fertilizers, it's not because of sprays, it's because this tree rooted itself through the wheat cloth into the ground. I cannot move this tree out. So why will you do this? Normally, I don't like my trees to root themselves in the ground, because what usually happens is once you pull them out, they are going to get stressed, the leaves are going to drop, and then nobody's going to buy them. So why would I let the tree do that? Well, I did not do it intentionally. We had a lot of trees in this area, and we just forgot about them, and they rooted themselves into the ground in just a matter of months, and then they're huge now. So what you do, guys, is if you have trees that rooted themselves in the ground, or if you intentionally want them to grow bigger, just let them grow until winter time. Mulberry trees are deciduous plants. What that means is they go dormant. You can tell by the trees behind me that all their leaves are dropping. That means the trees are lowering their energy consumption, and they're going to sleep. So whatever you do to the tree, you can cut it, you can kick it, you can toss it, it doesn't really matter. They're not going to react to it until they wake up. So they are a lot more forgiving to you pruning them during the winter time than if you actually do it during the growing season. So what we do, guys, is we're fixing to cut the roots of these plants, and then what we're gonna do, we're gonna repotting into 15-gallon containers. Let me show you. This mulberry trees right here, we did last winter. We did not let these trees root themselves into the ground because this is as big of a container as we actually keep them here at the nursery. We cannot put them in bigger containers than this because it's just not worth it for us, and then that will take up a lot more space. And to be honest, a bigger container is not what got these trees to grow big as this. What happened was the same thing as the Pakistan mulberries. They rooted themselves through the ground, and last winter we pruned the root system and then repotted them into bigger containers. So why do we do this, guys? Well, 2 reasons why. The first reason is, well, what else can we do? Once the trees get big enough, I mean, there's really not much else we can do. We have to repot them. And then reason number two is every year we get customers. They either show up at the nursery or they call asking for a bigger sized mulberry tree, a 15-gallon, a 25-gallon or bigger mulberry tree. And we try to explain to them that it's always beneficial to plant a smaller one and let it grow than to actually get a bigger one, because they don't really get big in containers. A lot of these customers, some of them understand and they get a smaller one, even though they have their doubts. But thankfully we have a lot of the trees in the ground and we grow a lot of our plants here at the nursery, so we can show them the different stages of growth on the plants. But then there are some other customers that they really don't care. They want a big tree and they want it now. They don't want to wait 6 months to a year for the tree to grow, even if they want to pay 3 to 4 times as much. And usually these customers are not the customers themselves. They hire landscapers, and then these landscapers are the ones calling us or showing up at the nursery asking for these trees. And it doesn't matter what you tell the actual homeowner, they don't really care. They want a bigger tree yesterday. So for those types of customers, that's the only reason why we get these trees potted, and then we have them for sale, because some people don't want to wait. Mulberry trees grow very quickly, guys. Once you put them in the ground during the growing season, this is only about 4 months worth of growth. And that means this tree was able to root itself in the ground, and in 4 months time it got all the way to about 12 feet tall. That's fast, guys. So to be honest, there's really no benefit in buying this tree in a bigger container than to actually buy one of our regular 5-gallon mulberry trees right here. They are cheaper and they grow just as fine. And to be honest, my preference will always be a smaller tree to start with, especially if it's something that grows fast. But we try to cater to everybody here, and that's the reason we pot those guys in the winter time. Now that's a nursery trick, whether intentional or not, that a lot of nurseries will do to their trees, especially any tree that has a taproot system. Any tree that has a taproot system will never do well in a container long term. Once that taproot hits the bottom of that container, they slow down drastically, and it's just not worth growing that tree in that container. It's always better to put it in the ground. Can you grow it in a container? Yes, you can, of course, but it's gonna take some effort from you, and do not expect your tree to perform 100%. So let's say you have a mulberry tree in a container and you want to keep it there for whatever reason. So you can do the same thing I'm about to do, guys. Every year you are going to have to root prune, which is technically what I'm doing right now. This tree is fully rooted in the ground. I cannot move it out of here, and I need to do this year, because usually if you wait any longer, like 2 years, then the tree is going to be so big, and even if you do it during dormancy, the tree is going to take damage, and it's just not worth it to let it grow that long in the ground just because you want a bigger tree in a container, because you're going to be cutting so much of the root system that it may damage the tree. So my recommendation, if you want to do this yourself, is let it grow for the first year, and then that winter you can go ahead and repot it. Don't let it grow any longer, because then you may have issues by pruning the root system so much. The longer the taproot system is, the bigger your canopy is going to be, and that holds true for most trees with taproots. So let me go ahead and cut the root system. So let me show you what it looks like. Alright guys, so I got the root system cut right here, and you can tell how big that taproot was. It's freaking huge. Look at that thing. This is my hand right here, and look how big it actually grew. And I did not cut the bottom of this container. What usually happens is, let me show you, that root system grew through the drainage holes on the bottom of your container, and as it grew bigger, it made that hole bigger, and then that allowed the actual root system to grow. So this right here is the taproot system of your plant. Is your plant going to die? No, it's not, because we're doing this in the winter time. Let me show you the size comparison between this one that grew in the ground and those guys that remained in the container. This tree is huge, guys. Huge. But anyways, so what's gonna happen now, I'm gonna go ahead and I pot this guy in a 15-gallon. Just to show you what the size difference between a 5-gallon on the left and a 15-gallon on the right. It's usually about twice as deep and twice as wide. There are other 15-gallon containers that are wider and shorter, but the ones we like for trees that have longer roots are the longer ones, like this one. You can see the root system right here. That taproot went down and then started curling, and then it went through the side of the drainage hole on the bottom of that container. And hardly any roots on the sides, mainly the taproot. And there you have it, guys. I got potted 15-gallon mulberry tree. So in the next 3 to 6 months, this tree is gonna be fully rooted in that 15-gallon container. And now when we have customers come in looking for a bigger mulberry tree in a container, well, we have them now. And you know, we have something for everybody here. So remember, guys, this is a trick that you can do with your trees, especially if you are in the business of selling trees, backyard nursery, or you know, you have mulberry trees and you're trying to get them to grow bigger. Well, you let them grow into the ground, and then in the winter time you prune them and then repot them, and you are good to go. Am I scamming anybody, guys? Of course not. When you come to our nursery, guys, we will tell you this. We are very honest, and money to us, it's not a priority for me. What I care about the most are going to be your plants, not your wallet, like most nurseries out there. And that's the main reason we open our nursery here, because we like to be honest. When you come to my nursery, I will tell you, buy a smaller one, because it's cheaper, it grows just as fast. I'm the one growing the tree. I know what I'm talking about. And if you believe me, you will buy the smaller tree. You're saving money, and you're gonna get the same result in just a matter of months after you put your tree in the ground. But like I said, sometimes we have, you know, special customers that just want something now and they don't want to wait for whatever reasons. And this is the reason why we do this. But when you come to us, we will tell you both options, and it's up to you to make up your decision. Hopefully this helps you out, guys. If you have any questions, you know, always comment below. This is just one of the many nursery tricks out there. If you like videos like this, you know, comment below and let me know. I'll make more. There are many plants out there that you can use this technique on, and you will get the same results. But you know, that's a topic for a different video. So questions comment below. I will see you next time.